Hi there, my name is Malcolm Wilkinson, and welcome to Millennial Meals, a place where we show you how to make delicious meals and treats right in your own home. So today I was going to do something with a little bit more of a Spanish influence. So today we're going to be making quesadilla. Let's start cooking.
So for the ingredients, we're going to be using chicken. In this case, I'm using smoked chicken, 2 tortilla shells, 2/3 cup cheddar cheese, olive oil, and then finally some Fajita seasoning. So for the equipment, we're going to want to have a stovetop, a pan, a plate, a cutting board and knife, a spoon or fork, or some other kind of utensil that will help you flip your quesadilla, a measuring cup, then finally a spatula.
So one of the first things we want to do is we want to get our meat all sliced up to line up on our tortilla shell. In this instance, I'm going to be using smoked chicken. Now when it comes to you can use whatever meat you want, but in this instance, it's going to be smoked chicken for me. So I want to cut this into thin slices because that's going to make it a lot easier to line up my tortilla shell. That said, let's start slicing. Now that we have all of our chicken sliced up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to my pan. Next, I'm going to take one of my tortilla shells. I'm going to put that in the pan. I'm going to rub that in a little bit because what I want to do is it's going to make it a little bit easier to make my tortilla shell crispy because I do like my quesadillas pretty crispy. Now we got that in there. I'm going to add a little bit of my Fajita seasoning. Not too much. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1/3 cup of my cheddar cheese. I'm going to sprinkle that kind of evenly on my quesadilla because this is going to act like our glue for our chicken and the shell. So just going to do that, mix that around a little bit. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more seasoning because I do like this seasoning a lot. It's up to you on what seasoning you want, but in this case, I'm going to be using Fajita seasoning. Next, what we want to do is we want to add our chicken to our quesadilla. So the focus here, you want to make sure that you're getting your quesadilla shell, or at least I should say, these tortilla shells pretty evenly mixed with your chicken. To kind of like have it spread out, because what we don't want to have is we don't want to have a spot to where there's like this huge bald spot like right here, then there's like a pack of just filled with chicken. So we want to kind of make it even. That's why I was like saying having our slices or our pieces a little bit smaller. So in that way it makes it a lot easier for us to kind of distribute our chicken somewhat evenly throughout our quesadilla shell. Now that we have our chicken added, we're going to add another 1/3 cup of cheddar cheese. Like I was saying earlier, we want to have our cheddar cheese somewhat evenly spread out because again, this is going to be our glue that's going to hold our chicken and our quesadilla shell together. Or I should say our tortilla shells together. Right. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more Fajita seasoning because I really do like this stuff, and plus I love it when it's infused into the cheese. Okay, looks like that's good. Now with our other tortilla shell, I'm going to put that on top. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil on that. Because this is going to come in handy once we flip our tortilla shell. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to make sure that that olive oil I put on top is evenly distributed. And again, if it looks like I'm adding a lot, it's because I do love making my tortilla shells crispy. Some people like them to have like a little light brown or like goldish brown. For me, I like to have mine a little bit browner and I like to have mine a little bit crispy. So this is going to be a preference thing. If you don't want to add as much as I did, you're more than welcome to add less. But in this instance, I'm making a quesadilla the way I love to make it, which is fast, easy, and quick. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up my hot plate because I want to get my quesadilla nice and crispy. Some people like to get that golden brown, but for me I like to have mine a little bit darker and a little bit crispier. So now what we're going to do is we're going to play the waiting game to see how crispy I can get my quesadilla. So while your quesadilla is cooking, every once in a while you want to probably check under to see how the shell looks. So in this case I'm going to use a little bit of a spoon and a spatula to check on the underside to see how brown it's getting. So right now it's not really at the point where I want it at, so we got to play a little waiting game. But every once in a while, make sure you check the shell to see if it's at that level that you want it to be before you flip it to the other side. Alright, so I think my quesadilla is ready to flip. Oh yeah, it's totally ready. So in this case, this is a lot easier to do when you have like one of these spatulas that kind of bends at a slight angle. So I'm going to do is I'm going to set one side like this. So I'm going to have it, you can look, make it kind of give you an idea, because this kind of gives you a little bit of a leverage. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip it like that. And that's the type of brown I want. I want it to kind of look like this. I really like how kind of crispy I got it. Now what I should mention is after when you flip it, it's not going to take long for the other side to get cooked up. And again, this is how I like making it. If you have a different way you want to make it, feel free to do that. But this is my quick and dirty way of making my quesadillas. I love getting a little bit crispier than this, so probably a little bit darker. Again, what I should mention is that you want to make sure you're checking the shell, because after when you flip it, the other side gets done a lot quicker. So you want to make sure you're checking that a lot more often than when you were checking the first side. But yeah, it's definitely an art when it comes to flipping the quesadilla with one spatula, because I've seen some people, they have like two pans together and then they're like flipping it like this and stuff, and or they get a plate and they kind of like flip it that way and then they slide it into the pan. I should mention that this took me a lot of practice to be able to flip it with just one spatula. But like I said, you probably want to try the plate and the other pan method. But for me, this is, like I said, my quick and dirty way of making my quesadilla. So again, what we want to do is we want to make sure, checking how our shell looks. Looks like we still got a little bit more time. We want to make sure that we don't want to burn the other side, because we don't want one side to be like this, kind of like a little bit brownish color, and then the other side being like pitch black or like not cooked at all. So be sure you're checking your quesadilla, at least the shells, to see how it looks for you. See if it has that right crispiness or that right doneness for you. Okay, so personally I think the quesadilla is to the doneness that I want. So once it comes to when you're looking at your quesadilla and when you want to get it off the pan, you can get it off the way that you want. But I usually, first thing I do is I check to see if it's the right color. I like the way it looks. Again, I guess because how I was able to like flip it earlier. You could put it in your plate for easy delivery, and then you can take it to your cutting board. And then what we can do is we can start slicing our quesadilla. The way that I make this, it can serve about maybe 2 or 3 people. And then what we do is we just want to cut our quesadilla. So I'm going to cut this into about 4 pieces. So once your quesadilla is done, when it has that nice coloration that you want to slide it off onto a cutting board, then cut it to however many slices you want. In this case, I wish I got mine a little bit browner than this. But other than that, this is how you make a quick and dirty quesadilla. Y'all stay safe and have a good one.